And we're good.
We live, Dom? Hello and welcome to the first ever episode of the Moorpark Sportscast. I'm your host, Danny Stipanovich, the sports desk editor over at the Moorparkreporter.com. I'm here with the man in the Rockies hat. You want to introduce yourself?
My name is Kennedy Collier, and I'm a staff writer for the sports department at the Moorpark College Reporter.
And then we got Max Muncy live right here.
Yeah, this is Mitch Ross for the sports section at the Moorpark Reporter. What's up?
All right, guys. So let's get into your picks for the ALCS and the NLCS. Who was right and who was wrong?
Oh, I was definitely wrong. No, I was right on Tampa Bay beating Houston because Houston are cheaters and they can only cheat to win and can only win by cheating. So I picked Tampa Bay to, advance to the World Series. But I was wrong. Well, I was right in saying Kershaw would choke because he did choke. But I was wrong in saying that the Dodgers would not make it to the World Series. But I will say that this is where it stops. It's Tampa Bay. Or Tampa Bay, the same thing. You got the Lightning, you got the Rays. Tampa Bay is going to be winning in 5.
Well, that is a solid argument to argue against. However, I did pick Tampa Bay over the Astros in 7 games. It was a heavyweight matchup. Nobody expected Houston to come back from a 3-0 deficit. They almost turned into the 0-4 Red Sox, but not everybody can be Big Papi. I picked the Dodgers in 6, took them to 7, free baseball for me. I like the sound of Tampa Bay, but I think this is year the Dodgers right the ship. And Kennedy, I don't think Kershaw choked more than the offense didn't give him more than 1 run of support. So I think it'll be an interesting series.
But why does he keep being called the world's greatest, like a generational pitcher? Like, would you, like, I mean, he's a great regular season pitcher, of course, but, like, his ERA is over 7 in the postseason. Like, why do we keep, like, making excuses for Clayton Kershaw?
Exactly. There's no excuses to be made for Kershaw. He has the yips sometimes, but this season he's kind of put that behind him, I think. He went 8 strong innings, no runs, 13 Ks, only 1 walk in his start against Milwaukee in Game 2 of that wild card series, and he only gave up 3 against Slam Diego in the NLDS. He had a solid start through 6 innings against Atlanta. There was an error that put Acuna on second, and then the Braves kind of knocked him out of the game. But he only pitched once in this series. He's had a lot more rest this season with it only being 60 games. And I got to say, Kershaw looks good. I think he's going to put his World Series failures behind him.
Just to sidetrack a little bit, I'm super excited about San Diego. It's a super young team, a super exciting team. Tatis Jr., I want more grand slams. Like, I want him to keep just stacking the score up. I want him to win by 20 and 30 and 40. I want him to flip. I want him to chuck the bat like it's a javelin into left field every time he scores a home run.
Yeah, San Diego, definitely an upstart team. With the 60-game season, anything could have happened. And I think it's good that the Dodgers have some real competition in the West right now. I like Tatis. He's a good young star. I think he's slowly, but maybe even quickly turning into the face of baseball, which is unfortunate because Mike Trout clearly is the best player, but the Angels just don't win. I like Tatis. I don't like Machado. I still think that he's a dirty player. I regret the Dodgers ever trading for him. I think they would have won the World Series without him in 2018. And nobody says I'm not Johnny Hustle in the World Series. I think he needs to have a better work ethic and a better attitude about baseball.
All right, so this is the 7th. Is this the 8th year the Dodgers have won their division?
Yeah, so 8 years in a row, Dodgers have won the division. Only 1 season, 2018, was close where it went to 163, where Walker Butane Buehler shut down your Rockies, Kennedy, in Game 163 at Dodger Stadium. 8 years, I think it's the magic number. I think there's no
What happens? If they don't come through this year, what happens?
If they don't come through this season,
They'll make excuses for Kershaw again.
No excuses. I mean, with the Dodgers for the last 5 years now, it's World Series or bust. Um, they had their best chance in 2017, and we can debate if the cheating really helped the Astros or not. If Yu Darvish was really tipping his pitches in Game 7, this is the best Dodgers team they've had maybe ever. And 2019, they set a franchise win record. They have the best offense. They have the best pitching in baseball. They're the first team since the early 1920s to lead the league in offensive runs and lead the league in ERA. If the Dodgers don't win, some serious conversations need to be had in the front office for sure.
Now we're coming literally post-game after Game 7. What'd you guys see in this series between the Braves and Dodgers that shows you, these Dodgers can do it this year?
If anything, it's Mookie Betts. I think that's just the biggest steal that the Dodgers have ever gotten. And, if you were them, you would have taken it too. Mookie Betts is a generational player. It's amazing that the Red Sox have, the same salary as the Dodgers, essentially. They are the two of the biggest teams. It's them and the Yankees. How do you let this guy slip away? So all credit to the Dodgers. They've built a good team. They have very good hitting. They have very good fielding. It's the pitching that concerns me. It's the depth in their pitching. And that's where I see them struggling.
Yeah, I mean, if the Dodgers do have one weakness, it is who do we go after our starters? What I've seen in this series that shows that the Dodgers are going to win the World Series is the amount of runs they score with 2 outs. In the first inning in Game 5, when the Dodgers Game 3, when they put up 11 runs in the first inning, 10 of them came with 2 outs. They're scoring with 2 outs at a higher clip than any team ever in the playoffs in the history of baseball, which shows me that they're resilient. They work the counts. Even if they get down and behind, they walk. They walk more than any team in baseball. Max Muncy walked this postseason more than any other player. I believe he had 16 or 17 walks. So the Dodgers take their walks, and when the runners get on, they score. The defense, to me, is what sets them apart, and they're going to go up against a pretty good defensive team in Tampa Bay. But as we've seen the last 3 games of the series, Game 5, 6, and 7, Mookie Betts, you don't pay him $380 million for 12 years for no reason. He had 3 game-changing defensive plays, 3 games in a row when the Dodgers had to play 3 games with elimination right behind them. So I think the defense is going to set them apart, and let's give their pitching a little bit of credit. They only held Atlanta to 3 runs tonight, and Atlanta had the second best offense in baseball this year.
Yeah, this was the first series, though. The bullpen was actually kind of shaky for the Dodgers. Do you think that's a concern going forward against the Rays? Because the Rays, they don't have too many hitters, but they can pitch. So you think the bullpen should be concerned against the Rays?
Yeah, I mean, this is the first time this playoffs that the Dodger bullpen was really tested. And if you look at the games, every game was close until late. Tampa Bay's got a great bullpen. They've got a great collection of arms that all throw 100-plus miles an hour. I think the separating factor is going to be the starting pitching. Yeah, Tampa Bay's got Charlie Morton, who threw a gem in Game 7, and they got Blake Snell, the 2018 Cy Young Award winner. But the Dodgers have 5 legitimate starters. They got Kershaw, Buehler, Urias, Gonsolin, May. I don't know. Tampa Bay's only got 3. And yeah, they don't have any hitters. They don't have really any household names. But Randy Arozarena, a rookie, set a rookie record with 7 home runs this postseason, which is only second all-time for total home runs in a postseason. And he's got at least 4 more games against the Dodgers. So we'll see. I think Tampa Bay's got the edge in the bullpen, though.
I just want to talk about how exciting it is that, the season happened. I think 60 games was the perfect amount. You had a team that basically no one knew, like you said, no household names with Tampa Bay, and they found themselves in the World Series. I think the MLB needs to look at serious changes about how they're going to proceed in the future, because I think this is the most people have paid attention to the sport in at least 20 years.
Well, yeah, you can make the argument that baseball this season was more exciting than it was before. I actually am in favor of reducing the number of regular season games. I think it's a lot to play 162. Let's drop it down to 140. And I'm actually a fan of the expanded playoffs. And I like the universal DH. There's a lot of changes this year that made baseball more fun, including a 28-man roster, which meant more exposure to players that we may not have seen this season. For instance, Randy Arozarena. We probably wouldn't have seen him at all this season if it was a regular 162, or at least we wouldn't have seen him until September. The thing about the Rays is it's a collision between big money Dodgers and small market Rays. They have to pinch pennies anywhere that they can and get creative with the lineup that they put on the field. Kevin Cash has done a great job doing that. I think it's an evenly matched series. I don't think one team has an extreme edge over the other.
To make the argument for the small money team, the Royals did it. Gosh, I can't remember how long ago, but they are certainly not a big market team, so it is possible to take down the Goliath.
Yeah, and just the Rays way of baseball. They play small ball. They play many different defensive shifts on you. The Dodgers are going to hit the ball out of the ballpark. They'll outslug you. They'll out-hit you. But the Rays, their manager, Kevin Cash, he might outmanage Dave Roberts. I haven't seen Roberts been willing to go to play small ball to initiate the bunt or initiate the steal. Don't be surprised when the Rays are bunting off the Dodgers and stealing bags. It's a different brand of baseball, and I think it'll be good to have a little national exposure for small market Tampa Bay, who, yeah, they were the favorite to come out of the American League at the beginning of the season before COVID hit. But now that they've been on national TV for so many games, I think it'll be good for people to see a change in style and not just swinging for the fences.
It's definitely going to be interesting to see Cash versus Roberts for sure. I mean, as a Dodger fan, we've seen Roberts make some questionable calls in the postseason, putting in Kershaw in late. I thought putting Jansen in to close the game last night was kind of sketchy. So we'll see if Roberts can match Cash for sure. Who do you guys think has the upper hand as far as the managers? Who do you trust more?
I'm going to say I still trust Dave Roberts. At the end of the day, the manager doesn't pitch the ball. The manager doesn't get in the batter's box. He can only put his players in the best position to win. And this is Roberts' third trip to the World Series in the last 4 years. This is 4 straight seasons in the League Championship Series. He's got the experience. And to comment on Kenley Jansen, he's set down the last 9 batters that he's faced. He's gone 1, 2, 3 the last 3 games. His velo has been up, and he's hitting the corners. His cutter's breaking more than it was before. I read that he had some conversations with his old pitching coach, Rick Honeycutt, to try and recenter himself and find his form again. Advantage Roberts for me.
I don't like to put a lot of stock in managers because of the randomness of baseball. It's so hard to just hit a baseball. It's one of the hardest things to do in sports that, I mean, you could be Jesus Christ as a manager and you're still, there's still no chance that you make it into the playoffs. Would I rather have Dave Roberts on my team, managing my team? Yeah, because he's been there before. He has that experience, but it's a coin toss, honestly.
You guys ready to get into your official World Series picks and predictions?
You bet.
All right, let's start with Kennedy. Who's your official 2020 world champion?
As much as I hate them and like seeing them suffer and laugh at all their misery and call them jokers, call them overrated, their stadium stinks, Dodger Dog overrated, the whole atmosphere is kind of sad, it's stuck in the 60s. I think the Dodgers will win in 6 because overall they have the better team.
Whoa, take it easy on the Dodger Dogs. They're not that bad once you slap some ketchup on it. Yeah.
If anything needs ketchup on it, it's not good.
No, ketchup's a vegetable. Ask Reagan. So there's no way around it. The Dodgers are the better team. It's David versus Goliath, even though David's going to put up a fight. I like Tampa Bay. I like their story. I like that they play small ball, but when the dust settles, the Dodgers are going to be lifting the commissioner's trophy. It is well overdue. The Dodgers will be celebrating like it's 1988, And even though it was a 60-game season, it still counts all the same to me.
I will say, though, that Tampa Bay does have a really good – not to sit on the fence, which is what I'm absolutely doing right now. Tampa Bay could absolutely take it from the Dodgers. They just did it from Houston. And Houston, despite the cheating, is still a very good team. They also have depth, so it's going to be deep. But, yeah, still Dodgers.
Well, they almost blew it to Houston. They were up 3-0. And they lost 3 straight. Houston forced a Game 7. If anything, with the Dodgers coming back from a 3-1 deficit, it shows me the team's more resilient. They've got the experience. They've got 3 former MVPs on their team and an MVP caliber player in the NLCS MVP Seager, who, by the way, with all the attention on Mookie and Bellinger, Seager's able to fly under the radar. And if you ask me, he's a top 2, top 3 shortstop in baseball. We could argue that another time. But, yeah, there's no way around it. Dodgers in 6.
All right, so since we literally recorded this right after the Dodgers game, I'm not sure who won the NLCS MVP. Mitchell, are you aware of that?
Yeah, Corey Seager, shortstop for the Dodgers, NLCS MVP. He was just absolutely on fire the entire playoffs. Just in this series alone, 5 home runs, 11 RBIs, hitting well over 350. He seemed to come in clutch whenever the Dodgers needed him. And this is big for Seager, who he had 2 major surgeries. He had hip surgery and Tommy John in the offseason of 2018. So 2019 was really his first season back. And now that he's had all of 2019 and a full offseason after 2019 to get to this point and all the rest that he's had on a shorter season, he's back to his MVP production days from his rookie year and sophomore year. I think people forget about Seager because you've got Bellinger, you've got Kershaw, you've got Buehler, now we've got Mookie Betts, but Seager's definitely not one to be overlooked. He is, like I said, a top 2 or 3 shortstop in baseball, but he flies under the radar. He's very low-key.
And he's only 26, so that's for a baseball player, that's super young. The only question is, can he stay healthy? And hopefully he will be able to, because he's primed to have a fantastic career as a shortstop. He will go – if he keeps on this trajectory, he will be going to the Hall of Fame.
Exactly, Kennedy. Health is 100% the only caveat to Seager's success. He's a free agent after next season, and after this NLCS MVP, I could just see those dollar signs going up.
We'll see if the Dodgers can pay him, though. It's going to be interesting to see if they can figure something out. Now, you were talking MVP status. Who's going to be the World Series MVP? Is it going to be Seager? Is it going to keep up the hitting? We saw Mookie make some MVP-type catches. Belly hit the go-ahead home run. Who's going to be the World Series MVP, Kennedy?
I mean, those 3 – I mean, I feel like those are just tied, all 3 of those for MVP. How could you choose against any of them without making the argument, well, it could be this guy? I think if I had to choose, it's going to be Mookie, just because I like his energy. I feel like it's his time. I feel like we had the Seager series already. Now it's time for the Mookie to at least do some more offensively. I think we're going to see that.
Yeah, I mean, you could definitely say we had the Seager series. You could even say we had the Seager season. Corey Seager will definitely finish top 5 in regular season MVP on top of his NLCS MVP. For me, I'm going to go with none of the above. I'm calling Clayton Kershaw to get over the hump. This is his time. He's pitching in his hometown of Dallas in front of his family. Kershaw gets over the hump. What? Come on. Could LA not have a Hollywood storybook ending for this man? The greatest regular season pitcher maybe in the history of baseball. His highest regular season ERA was 3 last year. People are saying Kershaw is washed. I think he's just beginning this next chapter of his story as the savior of the Dodgers.
I mean, he may be the best regular season pitcher, but statistically, he is the worst postseason starting pitcher. Like, since they started doing stats, since numbers were invented. I mean, I just get out of here with this Kershaw MVP. It's just, you Dodger fans disgust me.
Hey, anything can happen in 7 days in October, my friend. I've seen stranger things. Definitely. Like last year's World Series, no home team won a single game in their home ballpark. Every single game the road team won. And you're telling me that Kershaw can't win the MVP. We'll see. Regardless, the Dodgers are winning. So I'm happy.
Kershaw's going to have plenty of rest, Kennedy. You better watch out. And I don't think this Rays lineup scares him at all.
He's going to have like a pinky toe spasm and like he'll be pushed back like 6 more games or whatever.
Pinky toe spasm. That would definitely be a first. Yeah, Danny, Kershaw with all the extra rest that he's had only needed to make 1 appearance in this series. He's primed to start game 1 on Tuesday. This is Kershaw's time. If we go back to the 2017 World Series, if you take out Game 5 where the Asterisks were cheating, Kershaw wins MVP of the 2017 World Series. The Dodgers win in 6 games. He has great games starting in 1 and 5. I think the Astros got in his head a little bit. This has been a refreshed season. It's been a refreshed Kershaw. He'll get Cy Young votes this year probably too. It's not out of the question Kershaw can take home the World Series MVP.
And like you touched on a little bit earlier, Mitchell, he has these really good stretches, and it's usually just 1 inning where he'll just fall apart. So if Roberts can figure out when to pull him, I think we'll be good.
Exactly. I think what Dodger fans don't want to see is Roberts giving him the hook early. With the experience, I think you got to ride your horse all the way. Kershaw's the Dodgers' horse. It's time that he takes his place among the greats. If the one knock against him is that he's never won a World Series, what I'll tell you is baseball's not a one-man sport. It's a team sport. The Dodgers, they got to give him the offensive support that he needs for him to just do his job.
Kennedy, so if he's starting Game 6, that's your pick, that they're going to win in 6. Are you rooting for Kershaw or against him?
I mean, just because I say the Dodgers are going to win doesn't mean I don't think Kershaw's going to choke. I think he's going to do so bad. What is he? Is he the second or third pitcher now? He's not your guys' ace. So I think he'll do poorly on his first time around, and then the toe spasm will happen, and we'll just wait and see.
No love for my man Kennedy. Remember, when was the last time the Rockies won a World Series?
Hey, we got swept by the Red Sox, and I haven't really watched baseball since, so
1 game against them, so that's 1 more than you guys.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. You can find me on Twitter at D Stipanovich. Kennedy, where can they find you?
They can find me nowhere. I'm
Nowhere.
not on social media. Don't find me.
He's a ghost. Mitchell, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, or Medium at Mitch Ross Report. Get all your good sports content there.
All right. Thanks, guys, for joining us. This is the MoorparkReporter.com. Shout out to our engineer, Dom. We are going worldwide.
To the top.
Yep.
Coming for you, Howard Stern.
Number 1.